Are you a young girl living in Halton from ages 13 to 18? Even if you're not, but you're still living in Halton with even an ounce of humanity, keep watching. Halton has experienced a spike in human trafficking cases from 2021 to 2022, with sections 279.01 of the Canadian Criminal Code stating that any forms of trafficking are indictable. Inside Halton states that there has been a 74% increase of human trafficking charges, with the average victim being 13 years old. That's a 7th grader, a preteen that's still undergoing brain development. Save Us Halton states that Ontario has become a major hub for human trafficking, with 93% of victims being underage, local, young girls, and women. Human trafficking is a growing domestic concern. Changing the public perception of human trafficking, as well as educating people about the harsh realities of human trafficking, is key to combating the issue. Even when considering the rates of human trafficking, the matter of the truth is that there are hundreds of unreported and therefore underrepresented cases when talking about human trafficking. This is due to the manipulation tactics from the offender to the victim. Understanding these tactics will help to significantly reduce the number of human trafficking cases in Halton. For example, trafficking happens through a procedure, a series of steps where victim meets trafficker and it escalates from there. Step 1 being the luring phase, whether this may be online or in person, claiming to be a friend but always with negative intentions. Then step 2 occurs, which is the grooming or the honeymoon phase, which is where offenders will convince their victims to romanticize them to the point where they become attached. They find comfort in their offender, and usually this is within 12 to 14-year-old girls who have very young and very impressionable minds and soon rely on their offender for comfort. Finally, step 3, manipulation and coercion, where the offender finally gets what they are looking for this entire time and they have successfully manipulated their victim. It is imperative that women in Halton specifically are able to recognize these signs and tactics and schemes before it gets too far and another 13-year-old girl simply becomes another statistic. All these slight signs get simply swept under the rug, and so many situations continue to be preventable had there been simply greater education regarding the tactics and the schemes of these offenders to help keep our community safe for young women. Along with understanding the manipulative tactics, education also spreads awareness regarding strategic tactics and how, as a community, we can continue to emotionally support victims along with de-escalate situations whenever we can. One of the reasons why Halton continues to be one of the growing cores for human trafficking is due to the 401 corridor between Windsor and Quebec that is regularly used as a common route for traffickers to transport their young victims between communities subtly without getting caught. For instance, London, Ontario is considered notorious for human trafficking due to its proximity to the 401 corridor as a major hotspot. These traffickers are using many exits off the highways and smuggling young teenage girls to different sex markets, including Windsor, London, Toronto, Ottawa, and Montreal, all along the 401. As Halton citizens, we have the responsibility to continue to understand our communities and the strategies to disable these human trafficking schemes every day. Millions of people drive down the 401 every single day, yet continue to enable young women in danger due to failure to educate themselves. This is why the Federation has installed a truck driving program for commercial truck drivers to understand the warning signs. However, this is not enough. We must expand this to hotel managers, to school boards, and just to continue to educate the others in our community, as the largest vulnerability is ignorance. Breaking stereotypes and educating citizens on the realities of traffickers is also imperative to building the future of Halton. Many stereotypes and stigmas surrounding human traffickers must be broken so we are not continually blind of what may be in front of us. The reality is that there is no ideal image of what a trafficker may look like. There is no race or gender that we can box an ideal offender in, and we cannot be willfully blind to the physicalities. From the 4,000 reported incidents, majority were women. From these statistics, 91% stated that they knew their offender personally, and 34% were with an intimate partner. The reality is that there are women aged 12 to 18 inside Halton communities, inside Halton schools, that are being trafficked every single day. There is no ideal victim. Anyone can be a victim. With that being said, there are specific attributes that an offender may look for in their victim. They look for vulnerability. They look for middle to upper class to continue to bring in this money, which can be contrary to public belief about what a typical offender-victim relationship may look like. Breaking stereotypes, refusing to succumb to naive thoughts, changing public perception, and education helps to equip our communities with strategies that can help hinder human trafficking, as well as teaches us citizens how to properly respond to situations when encountered with human trafficking that can be right under our noses. As a crisis in our local communities, we all have a role to play, and this begins with the bare minimum responsibility of educating ourselves and others around us. Together, we can learn to combat human trafficking by putting ourselves in the victims' and the offender's shoes, as well as in terms of our public morality in cases where we must learn the warning signs, the risks, and the tactics used in terms of human trafficking to ensure a safe future for all generations to come.